Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to tonight's evaluation race number 1 at the Italian Grand Prix. This is the chance for drivers to prove their worth in these types of race scenarios, to prove that they belong at the top of the tree here in TT Masters League. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box here tonight is the lovely, the wonderful, the fantastic Mr. James Head. James, it's been a while, but I'm glad to be reunited with you back in the box. How are you doing?
I really appreciate that introduction, first of all. Yeah, I'm doing really well, Kieran. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. I'm looking forward to some great action here tonight, and no doubt we'll get some great action. We'll bring you the permutations of what's going to occur here tonight later on. But what I want to go through first, James, is, well, we were talking just before the stream started about how competitive this field looks like it's going to be just in the evaluation race, let alone what could be facing us when we get to the first round proper.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, I think, this evaluation race 1. And obviously we've got Carlsberg and Recon, who led the charge last season in TTL F1 League 1. 2 former champions in their own right dominated the season, both in the Mercedes. But then we've got the likes of LRT Thomas and Perpetum in the Ferrari, Bianchi and Medium Pilot in the Red Bull. I think that's a cracking pairing, that. But it's just packed full of great drivers. And honestly, for an evaluation race, this is probably the best one you could have. It is evaluation race 1. It's the best one you can have. And these guys obviously have got to put their foot forward tonight for them to earn a spot in their rightful divisions, because nothing is set in stone. These guys have got to impress if they want to make it as high as they can in TTML.
Yeah, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is sacred either. So, you know, you've really got to earn your place here in TT Masters League. And, well, that's why they call it the Masters League, James. You've got to try and at least get yourself up the order as best as you possibly can. The great thing is, though, James, there's one round of evaluations. The admin team decide where you think you should be, and then that's it. We're straight into the running. How good is that? You know, it's pretty quick turnaround now. We're focusing solely on the road ahead and some new races ahead. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the drivers can unfold with tonight.
Yeah, it should be fantastic. And obviously, all of the evaluation races this week are at Monza. And I couldn't think of a better track to have an evaluation race at, because 75% of it is pretty much speed-based. So these guys are going to be going pretty much flat out on the throttle for, I think it's an average of about 13 seconds per increment on the straight. So that's 13 seconds worth of throttle input down the straight, which is unheard of, and it's 75%, as I say, of the throttle input around here. But Monza, great track, great lineup as well. What more can you ask for?
You can't really ask for a lot more. I've got to be honest with you. I'm honestly really looking forward to tonight's action. And once we get into that lobby, once we get ourselves going and ready, we will be able to give you that coverage. Just having a look at the sort of evaluation race briefing here tonight. The really important thing that the organisers have made perfectly clear to the drivers is they don't want to see any retirement. So they have turned damage off. Now, we have had in the past, I've seen in the past, we've had some issues with damage being off and people taking full advantage of it. But the sole reason for damage being off is to discourage people retiring from the session. If you retire from tonight's session, then that sort of doesn't give away your ability, and it really can stunt your ability into getting yourself into the right group and getting you competitive. You might be ranked higher than you actually are. You might be ranked lower and dominate the field, and it's very boring for everybody involved. The whole point of these evaluation races is to see what your pace is like. So if you don't finish the race, then there's not a full picture of what your pace is going to be like. For that reason as well, because damage is off, then by default safety car is off, so we won't be seeing any instance that cause a safety car or a virtual safety car. Well, we've got the pit assist and the ERS assist on as well. As well as that, it is going to be a short qualifying session with 50% race as pretty standard in TT Masters League. It's been established in these social races how the structure is going to be. It's not too different. It's not too dissimilar from the two leagues and how they were run beforehand. So it's a good way for the drivers to get used to those track limits that we are so fond of here in Italy, especially at the chicanes, especially at the Roggia chicane. Going in towards turn 5, James, it's very tempting to try and take the inside line there and just take a little bit too much track. So we'll have to see how the drivers cope with that one.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, I think. And at the Della Roggia chicane, as you say, taking that right-handed curve, it can get you an invalidation on your qualifying lap. I found that the hard way in time trials, certainly earlier on when I was doing a few laps around here, getting used to the track again at Monza. But really, this track is speed-based driven. And although we've got the Della Roggia chicane, we've also got the Rettifilo chicane through turns 1 and 2. They are the first corners that these guys are going to come up towards, and you will see probably on lap 1 there will be a bit of a Constantino effect. There is bound to be 2 wide pretty much all through the field going into that corner. Also, I think down in towards Ascari, that could be a pinch point on the circuit as well, down into turns 8 to 10. Yes, there are 3 corners there at Ascari, but that could be a potential pinch point, and it could also be a really good potential overtaking opportunity as well for all of the guys out on track. But it's a legendary circuit. There should be a lot of overtaking. There should be a lot of good battles. What we're only waiting for is an invite to the lobby.
Yeah, fingers crossed they're out soon. We have seen that they are going to be slightly delayed, but hopefully the invites will be with us very, very shortly. Of course, one of the first races on the first calendar, in fact, I should say one of the first 7 races, because it was the season finale of the very first F1 season, was originally run in the second weekend of September, and now, well, maybe not this season in real F1, but in most seasons in F1, it's always really held that weekend of that second weekend in September. And it's made itself a huge staple on the calendar, mainly because of how historic Monza is, but it's really the proving ground of Ferrari. You know when you're driving a Ferrari when you drive around Monza, and you absolutely know when you're not driving a Ferrari. I think more so when you're driving around the track in Monza. The Tifosi are some of the most passionate fans of Formula One in the world. So if you're not driving a red Ferrari, then the fans, they're not going to take too much of a liking to you.
Yeah, they definitely won't take a liking to you. I assume it's like Dutch corner at the Kemmel Straight as well, where the Dutch fans are really getting behind Max Verstappen and really be getting behind the Dutch drivers as well. It's the same here in Italy, where we've got the Tifosi. I'm just joining up into the lobby, by the way, so hopefully we're going to be in very soon indeed, and I am indeed. Do you need an invite, Kieran?
Let me just have a look. I do indeed, Mr. James. So
you do? Right, I'll give you an invite.
Okay, no problem. It's all behind the scenes here. Luckily, though, just like in with Tom behind the scenes, you don't see any of this happening. Us rushing about trying to basically unlock the commentary doors to try and get in. I'm going to break the windows in a minute, James. I've got to be honest with you. But yeah, hopefully we'll get into the lobby, and then it won't be long till we get to see some on-track action. And of course, we've got some brand new intros coming up very, very shortly. Excited to see that one as well. And obviously, if you haven't seen any of the social races, then this intro should be very different for you. Very different to what you've seen. And hopefully is the stepping stone and the building blocks for TT Masters League going forward. So I'm really excited about that one. So yeah, we are in the lobby right now, but we've got to wait for those drivers. So James, it's more talking about Monza. It's more talking about the Italian Grand Prix and tonight's evaluation session. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not against that at all.
I'm not against that at all either. And I'm going to have to put a fun fact in. Like we were talking about this earlier. 500 types of different pasta are known in Italy. Yeah. That's the fun fact of the day. If you're playing James Head's fun fact game, not the drinking game, we've rebranded it, but totally if you're playing the fun fact game, you can tick that one off.
What would be the James Head drinking game? My God, how many games do you have, James?
Do you know what? Get me going.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But yes, Monza here. It's a very, very quick track. In fact, until recently, as recent as 2018, held the lap record or the qualifying lap record for the fastest average speed around the track by Juan Pablo Montoya back in 2003 in a Williams. Yes, you heard me right, in a Williams. Back when they were actually, you know, fronting the field at some point in these scenarios. But that just shows you how important the engines are at a track like this.
It's really important to have a very good engine, and I think it's really important as well for these drivers. Obviously, we're more sim-based here on F1 2020. It's all about getting that perfect setup. And I think if the drivers can get a perfect setup, they could get a really perfect lap. And we should see lap times possibly going into the 117s here tonight. It's the top time trial times in the 117. We could see that tonight. It could be 118s. But honestly, I think what we've got to look forward to is just how close qualifying is going to be. It's going to be like Austria when we covered the social race last week, when me and Aidan covered the social race last week. It was so close. And I think you covered it with Graham on Friday. Or Thursday, I think it was, and it was 0.8 of a second separating the top 14 out on track. And I can see pretty much a similar thing happening again tonight.
Yeah, and the great thing about these evaluation races is that the people who decide the leagues and the divisions in the end have an idea of where to put people in the evaluations. Now, that's not to say this is their final rankings. This is to try and see what they got right and maybe, more importantly, where some outliers lie. So, for example, if someone dominates Division 2, I should say the Evaluation 2 race, then everybody knows, well, actually, maybe there's some reshuffling to be done. So not only is it, you can treat it as sort of a pre-season, but you can also treat it as, do I belong with these drivers for the upcoming season? Am I too fast for them, or can't I keep up with them? It's a real, it can be a headache for all of these drivers to, and especially the admin as well, to pinpoint a perfect league in terms of pace. But races like these really do help.
They really do help, and I've ran evaluation races before when I've been in league ownership, and what I've got to stress first and foremost is just how much work these admins will put in into trying to get everybody into the right cars and into the right divisions. So just let that be known out on track, and hopefully these guys, the admin team, have got this right. We've got quite a few new faces here in Division 1, or in Evaluation Race 1, I should say, not in Division 1 because the divisions haven't been decided yet, but it should be interesting. We've got the quickest of the quick here, to be honest, and if everything is right, we shouldn't see too many changes to the lineups. There will be alterations, trust me. These are not the finalised grids. These will be the grids for tonight, but there definitely won't be the finalised grids for next week.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying earlier on, James, about some of these names coming through the evaluation race here tonight, we've got Calsper and Recon. These are, of course, the ones we've been sent. They were sent to us around about half an hour before, maybe even sooner than that, or maybe later than that, if you're so inclined. So an hour and a half, or whatever, that way. But these are the ones we've got, so this is the one we're going with. We've got Calsper and Recon. We've got Thomas and Perpetum. I think that's how you pronounce that. Obviously, yep. This is your chance, drivers. If you notice a commentator pronouncing it wrong, just tell us, because then we know in the future that you can give us a slap on the wrist and move on. Thomas joining him then in the Ferrari for that one. In the Red Bulls, we should have Bianchi and Medium Pilot. In the McLaren, we have Coutinho and Josh M. In the Racing Point, we have Venom and Matt. In the Alfa Romeo, we have TMC SH, or Sh. I don't know, Sh is going to be... Oh, let's go with Sh. That's a good one. Isotopic, the Norwegian, joining him in that Nordic lineup in the Alfa Romeo. In the Renault, we've got Wesker and Tibos. Tibos? Again.
Matt Tibos.
Yeah, let's go with that one. We've got in the Haas there, we've got Kilwa and Matty. There's a lot of Matts here tonight, so we've got to make sure we get the right ones. In the Alpha Tauri, it's going to be Jack and Yaram. And in the Williams, it's going to be McMaverick, what a name, and Caden Forbes in that final seat. So 20 drivers hopefully turning up here tonight and giving us some great action. We've got 80 minutes of qualifying, of course, 27 laps. 28. Yeah. No, I was right.
No, 27.
I was right. Okay, I should have a bit more faith in myself. 27 laps here at the Italian Grand Prix, and I really can't understate how much this track just is such a fan favourite. You know, people will be turning up to Italy, and okay, it's a lot of straight speed. There's only 11 turns, and you know, you could argue that only 2 sections are the heavy braking zones, the 2 chicanes, the Rettifilio chicane and the Roggia chicane. But you've also got the Lesmos, which are a challenging set of corners, pretty much mid-speed corner. In a track where you've got to run low aero to get the most out of the straight line speed, you've then been thrown at you the Lesmos, the first Lesmo and the second Lesmo. Then you've got the Ascari chicane. So it really is, you've got to find that so perfect balance, as you mentioned earlier on, James, between not sacrificing the top speed, but not losing all of that speed through the corners where you can't actually turn in with the amount of understeer you've got.
Yeah, I think certainly with the Lesmos as well, what I tend to find with drivers, whenever I commentate around here in Italy, is the back end kicks out through both Lesmos, and that is the significant sign of a very unstable setup. So these guys have got to try and get that balance right. They've got to try and get that balance right between, as you say, Kieran, the speed and also the cornering. Cornering is a very important part of this track. Not only because, well, speed takes up 75% of it, but these heavy braking zones, like the Ascari chicane, like the Rettifilio, and like the Della Roggia chicanes as well, it is going to be quite interesting to see how these guys get on. If they run an unstable setup, I could see these guys, some of them at least, getting mid-pack, I would say, bottom half of the field. If they don't have an unstable setup, you could be on for pole position.
Absolutely.
That's the difference it could make.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got in the chat there, we've got Sway say, let's go, boys. Good evening, Joe Corboy in the chat there. Maze with all the penguins up in a line. We've got Michael Yarum there. Welcome along to the stream. He's obviously driving as well, so hopefully we don't distract you too much with our commentary here tonight. We've got Michael Robinson giving the support there for McMaverick. Again, what a fantastic name. And Daniel Morris in the chat. Hello, Daniel. Good to have you here. Good to see you again. Fantastic graphics. Well, that's all down to Tom there, so big shout out to him. He's got a top 3. He's beating you to the top 3 here tonight, James. He reckons Recon, Pilot and Perpetuum.
Do you know what? That is not a bad shout, to be honest, for top 3. I'm not going to make any predictions until we just get on the exit of qualifying. But to be honest, Medium Pilot, I think he's probably one of the most exciting talents you could have in TTML. Watch out for this guy tonight. I've had the pleasure of having him in the TFRL back in the day, back on F1 2018, and honestly, he is lightning quick. And I'm not saying that Carlsberg or Recon or anyone else will have the pace, they will, but Medium Pilot could be the difference between just that superstar name that dominates or another driver who will be fighting out for the title. He's that good.
So, a big name there, especially. I mean, James has hyped him up, so that's got to be the...
He's got to deliver now.
It's got to deliver, absolutely. There's absolutely no margin for error now for Pilot. I do apologise, Pilot. He can be a huge commentator cursor. I've seen it before. It's quite incredible how James does these things. I do it less often, but I have a talent. I save it for the special occasions, the very special occasions. Obviously, if you've been watching, obviously, the merge between TTL and TMC, if you've watched some of the old TTL races, you'll know in the past I've definitely ruined somebody's race with a commentator's curse. At Baku, it was funny to see, but obviously not funny at the time because you've got to feel sympathy for the driver. Oh no, they've crashed out from the lead. But people who've watched that race, people who know their history will know what I'm referring to there. Happened a few seasons ago, but it's still fresh in my memory, that is for sure. But it's almost, James, the start of a new era. We're not quite racing, but this is as close to racing as we're getting at right now.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think obviously the sim racing world has taken over since obviously the pandemic has been coming about. But what we've got to try and focus on is what these guys are going to produce on the track. These guys are here for one reason and one reason only, and that is to drive to their best of the ability whilst providing you guys with the entertainment that you guys deserve. And yes, we've got the graphics, and Tom's probably waving in the background frantically trying to get his on-air time. But honestly, I think with this new merge, with the new era, I don't think I've been this excited for a league in God knows how long. And it's fantastic.
It's great to have you all along with us. Hopefully we will get some racing action your way very, very shortly. But unfortunately, you're going to have to listen to James and I rabbit on for just a little bit more. So hang on in there. I promise you the racing is not too far away. When it comes to Italy, obviously I've already mentioned how it is a fan favourite. But turn 1 on lap 1, I mean, the Rettifidia chicane is a tight corner at the best of times when you're going through it. But we're going to be having drivers 2-3 wide going into there. So how on earth do you navigate that problem, James?
You've got to be calm going into the corner. Basically, you don't want to pick up any front wing damage. Just one outbreak into the back end of somebody can really ruin your race. Luckily, there's no damage on, so that's going to be a given. So all these drivers out on the track, and there's no safety car either. And what I've also noticed is that there's no parc ferme rules on. Now, I think parc ferme is going to be part of TTML for Season 1. The countdown has just started as well. But it is going to be interesting to see. These guys can play with their setups as much as they want, which I think is going to be fantastic. And we will really get to see these guys tune in tonight in this evaluation race. And this is their opportunity to shine.
Absolutely. We are counting down into the lobby now, so we are not far away at all from some on-track action. We'll be getting you into qualifying very, very shortly, but we are in the Italian Grand Prix for the evaluation race number 1, the perfect opportunity for drivers out here to pretty much weigh themselves up against their rivals and maybe make some early rivalries early on in the season. Well, without further ado, it's almost time for tonight's evaluation race 1. So without further ado, let's get things underway. Well, it's sunny Italy, a great place to be here in Monza for the TT Masters League pre-season evaluation race 1. Plenty of racing action to be had this week, but this is your outline for Division 1 here at the Monza circuit. First on the calendar in 1950 and has made itself a staple on the calendar ever since. A driver favourite, a fan favourite, especially if you're driving one of those bright red Ferraris around this fantastic circuit. 11 corners takes us around 5.793 kilometres with 2 DRS zones and 2 activation zones as well to give us plenty of action down towards the heavy braking zones. Not much undulation, but plenty of heavy braking zones in towards the Rettifidia and the Roggia chicane, as well as the Ascari chicane to try and catch you out. Watch out as well for Parabolica. Getting a bad exit out of there and a little bit of oversteer on exit can be costly to your race. And here we are now in qualifying, where we're seeing some of the drivers here make their way out onto the circuit for tonight's action. And, well, hopefully that was as slick as it seemed on my end, but that was awesome. I love doing that. That's a big shout out to Tom then. We've got 15 drivers here as we head into qualifying, and obviously drivers heading out onto the circuit. We've got basically a slightly upgraded commentary box here, James.
We have got an upgraded commentary box, and obviously we've got the action now developing out on track. We're only a minute into qualifying, but with 15 guys, there's going to be quite it's going to be not a busy track out there. There's going to be plenty of space, so it could be worse. There could be 20 drivers out there, but there's 15, so it's all fine.
Yeah, and what's especially important as well is we've got a lot of action here to get underway, but we've also got a lot of action to come your way in these races. Hopefully the stream is all okay on your end. Hopefully it's just my laptop, because it is the slowest laptop in the world. If you've not watched one of my streams before, I put the stream on there just to make sure everything's running okay. So obviously it's the slowest laptop in the world, so that doesn't help. But yeah, hopefully we don't see the qualifying debacle that we had back in 2019, I believe it was, where we had drivers leave the pit lane and then just try and use each other's slipstream and try and get the toe off one another, and eventually it just led to the shambolic behaviour that it was, that we had 3 wide going through Curva Grande, and, well, that was pretty much it. Only a handful of drivers made it before the checkered flag, and yeah, that was just a really, I would say a poor showing in qualifying, that is for sure. But hopefully you can see just along the back straight going up towards Parabolica, you can see all these drivers trying to space themselves out and maybe even try and get a little bit of slipstream. It's going to be a little bit tricky because you don't know who your future teammate's going to be, so you don't know who to basically give the slipstream to. So there's probably not going to be much of that as we head into this race, because you don't know who your rival is, you don't know who your teammate is, and you're not going to try and give an advantage. Oh, that's a big moment for Jack there. Wow, how did he hold on to that one out of the first Lesmo? My goodness. Well, his qualifying lap may be shot, but I tell you what, he's turned on the style there. How on earth did he save that one? I've forgotten what I was talking about, but thank you for interrupting me, Jack. Wow.
That was maybe recovery of the season already.
And we haven't even started properly. That's amazing.
Exactly.
I love it. Absolutely love it. So hopefully Jack will hopefully recover his heart rate there and get us some good action as we make our way through. But he's coming towards that start-finish line. I doubt he's going to finish this lap. He is. He is going to finish this lap towards the start-finish line. He goes to 1:19.6 with a massive moment out of the first Lesmo, so he can definitely improve on that one. But well, we've had a lap record here of a 1:21 in the race by one Rubens Barrichello in a Ferrari. There's Pilot there, 1:18.3, as Maverick went with a 1:20.0. As you can see there, they're all just making their way now towards that start-finish line. Some of them heading up the back straight towards Parabolica, the flying right-hander, where you do need to go down to 4th gear. It is a misleading corner. It's tight on the entry, then it widens on the exit for you to try and carry that speed through. Mobile then into the pit lane, for Petum, we'll call him, into the pit lane. Then he did invalidate his lap, so unfortunately he will have to go again in that one, as there's a Mercedes parked there waiting to get back into the garage. We have had a driver join in, so I missed who it was. I think it was Venom.
MCL Venom.
So it was Venom, so he'll be able to basically take a start on the grid, but he won't be able to take part in qualifying. Matt then on the medium tyres did set a 21.9, but he did invalidate his lap, so we will have to go again in that racing point. I believe Coutinho is on a flying lap. He's heading through Parabolica and now onwards towards the start-finish line. Now let's see what sort of lap time he can do in the McLaren here. Well, it's going to be a 1:29.7, so he must have backed off earlier on in the lap, or either that or made a mistake, but one thing's for sure, he might go again.
Yeah, he will go again, and I think he was actually preparing for this lap. And Coutinho currently 29.7, looking good through the Rettifilio chicane, and now up towards the Della Roggia chicane, which is up through Curva Grande now at turn 3. But Coutinho, let's see what his first sector time is, because he's going to be in and around Bianchi Johan sort of area. And you can see purple first sector, 25.9. That's exactly where you want to be through the first sector. That's not what you want to do, though, through the first sector and through the chicane there. Now through the first Lesmo into the second Lesmo. Coutinho's looking good on this lap.
He is indeed, but he's got to keep it all together here. He's just invalidated it there on the exit of the second Lesmo, and that is how punishing and how cruel those track limits be, especially in this brand new game. If you put 4 wheels over the white line, that's it. Your lap time's invalidated, no matter if you gain an advantage or not.
Yeah, we've been seeing quite a few invalidations. I was flicking through earlier. Recon, Carlsberg and the likes, and Wesker as well, all invalidated their lap times. Massa just coming in with a 1:20.6. Interestingly, the only one on a set of mediums out there out on track, as far as I recall anyways. So very interesting strategy. He'll be going probably for the bottom half of the field and then go maybe that one-stop strategy that we could see towards the end of the race. So we'll see how Massa gets on.
Hello, Venom is actually taking part in qualifying. Well, so that's new. So there you go. He's joined qualifying and away he goes. There you go. So he will be able to set a lap time here. We're now up to 16 runners, so that's a new addition now, because previously in the last game, if you joined during qualifying, you couldn't take part in it. You had to wait until the race to actually get some driving. But Venom here has proved us all wrong. Unfortunately, though, I don't think he's got any hands. But in any case, he's out there right now in the second DRS zone.
Yeah, he is out there out on track, and with no arms or not, obviously that's a bit of a glitch going on there. But Venom is out on track, which is quite surprising to see. So they've obviously taken what normally happens in Project Cars, on Project Cars 2. Just validated there through Ascari. There's a car off just in front, which is Mata, who I think spun nearly at the Ascari chicane there. Not sure if there's left side end plate damage. I think he was coming into the pits anyways. But Venom, very good to see him, and he looks like he's going to start off on the lap, and he shouldn't be too far off the pace, I think.
No, absolutely not. Just under 11 minutes to go then. It is Pilot who's put it on provisional pole position. Bianchi in second, Yarum third, with Isotopic in fourth. And Jack, after that big moment, is there in 5th place. I mean, that was a huge moment for Jack. Still set a 1:19.6, which is probably quicker than any lap I could set around here in anger.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think faster than me as well. And Jack, 19.6, he's only 1.3 seconds off medium Pilot's lap. he can improve at least 5/10 after that mistake. So he'll probably be around Johan Bianchi sort of area. Carlsberg, by the way, just coming around the final corner. He is on a lap. He looks like he's going to go second with this across the line. Oh, he goes top with an 18.3. Nice lap there by Carlsberg and puts it to medium pilot early. 800ths of a second separating the top two.
Well, it's great to see Carlsberg now on the top step of qualifying here tonight, but still a long way to go. Here we are with Matty as he makes his way now down the back straight and onwards towards the Parabolica. He has got Recon ahead of him, but you can see here there's going to be two Alpha Tauris there just trying to make some space for themselves. We've got Recon making his way towards the line. He goes to third place. Here comes Matty on the medium tyres. He goes up to P9 with a 19.7, so not bad from him at all, especially on those medium tyres. More to come from him, I think.
Yeah, second quicker as well than Mata, his teammate, currently here tonight. Venom, by the way, has just gone fourth, 18.8. I said he wouldn't be too far off the pace, and he's not. He's just ahead of Bianchi, who I like to associate with the future star here in TTG. But let's be saying better. And it's his home track as well, actually, and he's a 10th up through the first sector, so it'll be very interesting to see how Bianchi gets on.
Absolutely, making his way now down the Curva del Seraglio as he makes his way down the hill towards Ascari. As we make our way now towards that very famous chicane now. It's left, right, left, and it really tests your patience through here, really tests the car as well. You can see Bianchi getting a little bit of oversteer on the exit of Ascari there, and that is where it can tempt you in. You can easily overcommit on Ascari, and it can instantly fight back. Bianchi then making his way around Parabolica and onwards towards that start-finish line for a right-hander that goes on forever. But Bianchi now makes his way towards the checkered flag, or not yet, sorry, the checkered line, I should say, with a 1:18.8. He does move up to fourth place, but only just.
Only just, and there's 300 separating Bianchi and Venom, and even closer if you count in Matt Tibos and Recon. There's 2/10 of a second separating third to sixth out on track. Bianchi, by the way, very good lap. He just went wide through Ascari slightly, which compromised his run. He had a slight correction. He would have been ahead of Recon if he didn't do that, and he would have been probably about a 10th quicker than him.
Well, we got Coutinho now making his way towards the line. Now goes P7 with a 1:19 flat as he makes his way up the order then onto the fourth row of the grid. Still a lot of shuffling to go though. With just under 8 minutes to go, Carlsberg is now on provisional pole position with Pilot second, Recon in third, Bianchi fourth, and Venom does get his way up to the table there. Third row of the grid for him so far in fifth place.
Yeah, Venom doing a good job. Considering he joined about 5 minutes into qualifying, he's done a fantastic job so far, and the Scotsman will be hoping to try and tell a good lap. Papetum and Josh have just started laps as well. Papetum is the first one out on track, down into the first chicane, looking very good, very, very close actually to the curb, but very nicely there by the German. Josh in behind as well, not enough to try and get any bit of slipstream, but I'll make a comparison of these first sectors and I'll cut back to you, Kieran. Papetum just coming through Curva Grande. First sector from him, 25.925. Josh's first sector, 25.857. Josh quicker by 700ths than Papetum.
Oh, but Josh has got it wrong on the exit of the Roger chicane. Into the gravel he went, and unfortunately that's that quick lap over and done with. To add insult to injury there, he's actually invalidated his lap time. Actually, I want to take you on board with Josh because there's a new feature here on these onboard cameras. That's right, we can look around. Look at that. You can now see the rear of Josh there as we see the Renault go through. That is huge. It means we can keep a track of the action. There you can see the left of Ascari there. But that keeps us much more in the swing of things. Even when we're on the broadcast section, we can still look behind us like that. That's great. I love that. That is a really good addition. I do like that. So hopefully that means we can give you more of the action.
Oh, what a lap! Papetum, I was just on board at the end of his lap. Sorry to cut in there on you there, Kieran, but Papetum's just gone about a 10th and, 300ths quicker than Carlsberg. So Papetum has really put it. And could we see a 17?
We could. We definitely could. We've got Matt here who's coming through that final section through Ascari, now coming towards Parabolica. He's on a 20.6 right now. This could be on target for a 1:19 if he can play his card right. Going through Parabolica, maybe a little bit of understeer on entry, but that's clear that he's using a lower downforce setup. Here he goes then, P14, 19.8 from the racing point. Maybe some fine tuning there, maybe a little bit of sandbagging maybe, with just over 5 minutes to go.
He could find a lot of time, I think, on that time. Obviously gained about double the amount from the middle sector into the final sector. So Matta, 119.8, he's slower than Matty, but it comes to show how quick Matty is. And I mean, he's a tenth and a half up already through the first sector. So Matty, now on a set of softs, hoping to go up there. And to be honest, I see him going around Matt Tibos, Coginio, Johan sort of area, 8th, 9th or 10th.
Well, there is Tibos making his way across the start-finish line, onwards now towards the Rettifilio chicane. And as we said before, James, if it's narrow, even for one car as we ride on board with the Renault here, I mean, look how narrow it is, let alone on lap number 1 of this race. So drivers are going to have to keep their cool and make sure they don't take advantage of that no damage rule too much here tonight. It's there so that drivers can finish the race and it helps out with the evaluation purpose. So let's hope we can keep it clean here. Tibos here, a little bit squirrely on the exit of the Roger chicane. And he gets it onto the grass, entering the first Lesmo. That is comedy, or a compilation of errors there, I should say, and then getting it all wrong going through that second Lesmo. Whatever happened on that Renault, it is not a happy car right now. Those tyres must be overheating.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the setup might be a little unstable as well. I mean, he's only 8 tenths off medium Pilot, who has gone quicker with a 118.1. Matty, I was riding on board with as well, had a phenomenal lap. You can discount what I said about 8th, 9th or 10th because he's gone 5th with a 118.3. Matty might be the spoiler of the party, might be the underdog coming into tonight, but he's certainly proven his worth so far.
Well, remember Jack here, still on that 119.6 where he lost the back end going through the first Lesmo, but managed to recover brilliantly. He's actually back out on a set of medium tyres, so he's probably thinking about strategy later on in this race. Going through the first Lesmo, much more control going through there. Now through the second Lesmo, a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit, but it shouldn't hamper him too much here as he makes his way now down the hill towards Ascari for yet another time. He's now quicker, yeah, because of that loss of control he had on that first flying lap on the soft tyres. I'm not surprised that he's up on his time here. Now, he might have a little bit of a slipstream of the McLaren ahead of him, but that McLaren is making it perfectly clear. That is Coginio, makes it perfectly clear that he's going to pull to one side and let the Renault, the AlphaTauri through, I should say. Here comes Jack then towards the line. Can he improve on his soft tyre run? Can he get into that top 10? Comes across the line, and no, he's off by 2 tenths there with those medium tyres, so that hasn't quite gone to plan, and for Jack, he's going to struggle to make it back to the pits and onto a fresh set of tyres in time.
Yeah, it's going to take him at least a minute and 20, given the pace he's going at. He should maybe make it back out, but it's not worth it. He should really retire in the pit lane from the session. 119.6 is probably the best he's going to get. Coginio, Venom also on a lap as well. He's invalidated, however, through the first sector. The Haasman looking good. 118.8, but look at how close it is. The grid, top 11, separated by less than 9 tenths of a second. Johan, I think, will be a noticeable improver later on in the session as we get towards the 2-minute mark. He should be the one to watch. 119.3, he can go a lot quicker than that, and I think he'll probably go 6th.
Unfortunately for Venom, who we were just watching there, he has invalidated his lap time, so he's warming up his tyres to see if he can go again. Coginio, though, is on a flying lap, and it's not invalidated yet anyway, as he makes his way up towards Parabolica on his flying lap, trying to make sure that he gets this braking zone absolutely spot on here. Lovely kissing that apex through Parabolica, and now making his way towards the start-finish line. Can he get himself further up the order here? It's an 18.6, and that puts him into P6 there, so good lap from the McLaren driver, and only really half a second off the best time so far, so actually not bad for him at all. But now the only problem is there's lots of other drivers now that are yet to set a lap time, and this is where the track it's getting at its personal best in terms of evolution. Well, we have got just over 70 seconds left of qualifying before the checkered flag comes out. It is Pilot who is on provisional pole position at the moment, with Perpetum in second. It's Kalsper in third, Recon fourth with Matty in fifth. Coginio has brought himself up to sixth place with Bianchi now seventh. Venom in eighth, hopefully he'll be able to set a lap time. He invalidated his last one. Wesker ninth, Tibos rounds out the top 10. It's Isotopic in 11th, Yaram 12th, Jack in 13th, Matt in 14th, McMaverick in 15th. And Josh, who hasn't set a lap time yet, is there in 16th. He is on track, though, ready to put a lap time on the board. So checkered flag will be out very, very shortly, and it looks like most of these drivers will be able to cross that start-finish line. Let's have a look at Venom, because he is one of the first ones out there. He's trying to use the slipstream of Matty here. This one's a valid lap time, and it now puts him up to 7th place. A 10th shaved off there, but it's only enough for one position as he now makes his way down at the start-finish straight. Jack there has not improved, and he does retire from quali there. He was the car behind Venom there, in all fairness, so that's why he has retired from this one. We've got Pilot out there. Perpetum is also now making his way towards Parabolica for the last time, at least in this qualifying session. Round the final corner he goes. The checkered flag is waving at the start-finish line. Can Perpetum put a Ferrari on pole position here as he heads towards the line? No, he can't. He's off by 100th of a second there and does not improve. Kalsper has backed out of his lap time. Recon is on his, but he has just set a purple Sector 1. As we now make our way through. Josh now up to 6th place with his one and only lap time. Here comes Pilot towards the line. Can he improve? Yes, he can. There's the 17.8. There's the 117 we've been waiting for. And the Red Bull man has got it so far. Recon is also one to watch out here. We've got Matty. He's invalidated his lap time. Coutinho, who is just making his way back to the pit lane. He's retired out on track. Venom invalidated his lap time. Bianchi is on one right now as we make our way round that final corner. Let's just see here. Let's see if any others are on their way to the line. Kalsper's invalidated his lap time. Here comes Bianchi towards the line. He now gets up to P9, so it's a good lap from him. How about Recon, though, as he makes his way around the final corner? Is he going to finish this lap? Yes, he is. What's the lap time going to be for Recon? It's an 18.0 for the Dutchman, just missing out on pole position there by 0.2 of a second. In fact, less than 0.2 of a second. That is qualifying completed then, and we have a Red Bull on pole position. It is Pilot who will have pole position for evaluation race 1.
Medium Pilot, great lap, 17.8, Recon with an 18 flat, Perpetum with an 18.1. But look at how close the top 10 are.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
It's great to see. And Pilot there gets that pole position for the evaluation race. It's where you want to be, and just try and get away from all the other drivers over the next 3 laps before DRS is enabled. But there is qualifying. Pilot is on pole position. Recon 2nd, Perpetum in 3rd, with Kalsper in 4th, Matty in 5th, with Josh in 6th, Wesker 7th, Coutinho in 8th, Bianchi 9th, and Venom rounds out the top 10. It's Tibos 11th, Isotopic 12th, Yaram 13th, Matt in 14th, McMaverick in 15th, and Jack failed to get a quicker time on the board. He will start from P16, but the entire grid covered by less than 2 seconds, and as you say there, James, the top 10 covered by 0.8 of a second. Should be a good evaluation race here.
Should be really good. And Medium Pilot, what did I say about him before we went into qualifying? There you go. That's all the proof you need.
That's it. That one screenshot. That's all you need. Let it be known, everybody. But we're now counting down into the race here at the Italian Grand Prix. And of course, like I keep saying, it is a fan favourite. It's one of my favourites, that is for sure, as we head towards the race tonight. And let's have your predictions in the chat as well. But here we are at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, where we have 27 laps of the wait. As clear weather, that has been predetermined, so no threat of rain. 5.793 kilometres with a race distance of around 156.4 kilometres. 11 corners takes us round the very quick lap here at Monza. And as we keep saying, not many braking points, which we haven't discussed it, James, but the new ERS deployment system now comes in the form of a button. You press a button, it goes into overtake mode. You then press that button again, and it goes back to normal depletion. But around a track like Monza, where there aren't many heavy braking zones, ERS management is going to be critical.
ERS management will be critical, and I think anybody who decides to use overtake mode off the start line is pretty much going to be at a disadvantage going forward within the first 3 laps, because you don't want to waste too much ERS. It's like that balance to find between a quick setup and a speed setup and a balance setup with cornering. It's pretty much similar to that. Hopefully the tyre graphic is coming up on the screen, by the way.
It is, yes. So soft and medium is one strategy. Soft to hard is the other one. So let's have a look and see how that all plays out. Now in 50% races, it's normally going to be the one stop here. I have seen 2 stops at Canada, so there is a chance that everything can be flipped on its head here. But as we make our way into this race, of course, the top 10 have to start on the tyre they qualified on. And there you can see that predicted stop strategy once again. One stop, lap 10 to 12 is the medium tyres. Lap 9 to 11, I think that was, on the hard tyres. But I can't see the hard tyres being a viable strategy unless you have a disastrous turn 1. And even then, there's no damage. So you might as well just carry on with your predetermined strategy.
Yeah, you may as well, and to be honest, anybody who gets caught up in an instant is going to be at a disadvantage, but what we've done here... Oh, it's medium pilot, spun it, coming out of Lesbo too.
Oh dear, that's not a good start from him at all. But, no, well, that's going to be live to everybody, I'm afraid, Pilot, so that is his blushes are spared at least, but not much. But anyway, he's on pole position, so we can't take that away from him. Damage is off anyway on the formation lap, so he's got that to... have a bit of a reconciliation about. We've got Sway in the chat there saying Wesker for the win. Well, let's see how that is going to play out in this one. Good evening to Vaporon, who's in the chat there. Vaporeon, Vaporon. We never got to the bottom of that one, but I'm sure you'll be able to correct us in the chat there. But here we go then with Pilot there on pole position. He's actually made his way back to the front of the grid here. I think Recon's let him back through, but we're now ready and lining up here for the Italian Grand Prix, at least evaluation race 1. Plenty of evaluation races to come this week. Don't forget, you can follow the league at TTML F1 to find out all the schedule there. But there is Pilot then on the left-hand side on the racing line. Recon finds himself on the other side of the track. He's got the inside line, but in theory, he'll have a worse getaway with less rubber on the track. With all the drivers lined up, can only mean one thing. We are moments away from the first evaluation race here in TT Masters League. And let's see how this one all plays out. It is 5 red lights. We are underway. What are the starts like? The lights went on for an eternity, but Recon might have been caught out by that one because look at the start from Kalsper. Looking to the inside. Perpetum gets a good start as well as we make our way down towards turn 1. It's 3 wide behind them. Can they keep their noses clean? Making their way through. Kalsper going around the outside and has taken that position back. Recon recovering at least from a slightly poor start by his standards. He's up to 3rd now. Perpetum into 4th. Matty in 5th. Gugino in 6th with Josh making his way up the order in 7th place. Venom in 8th. Wesker in 9th at the moment, but you can see Perpetum trying to move up the inside here, but no way through for him. Not past the Mercedes, that's for sure. As we have a look down the rest of the order, I think that's Josh in trouble in the background. Yes, it is at the 2nd chicane, at the Roger chicane. Let's have a look here, and yeah, he is down the order. He's now down to 14th place. Now looking for a move up the inside, and Matt then up the inside of the 2nd Lesmo, just about making that one through. But he's going to look at that, McMaverick sweeps around and takes that position back. Meanwhile, Tibos and Isotopic going side by side here in towards Ascari. In the other case, you've got Matt and McMaverick battling hard here for those positions. And Isotopic's gone off there on the outside of Ascari. Did he just get that wrong on his own? I'm not quite sure. But the Alfa Romeo driver is all the way now down the order. Josh making his way now back up to 13th place. He'll struggle there to try and get that back. There you can see an updated predicted pit stop strategy. Lap 11 to 13 now seems to be a way to go on the medium tyres, but we'll have to keep an eye on that as we make our way through. We've got Isotopic here who's all the way down. Yaram as well is down the order too. We've got Bianchi going side by side with Wesker in towards turn 1 here. Can he get the move done? Now you can see Wesker on the outside there and able to get the better traction out of turns 1 and 2. But a pretty hectic start, but here goes Bianchi now around the outside of the Curva Grande then as we make our way now down towards the Roger chicane. He's up the inside, he's got that move done and moves up a position ahead of Wesker. Then Wesker gets a little bit of a tank slapper there. Venom gets it wrong out of the 2nd chicane and then goes very defensive on Bianchi there. Bianchi had to go onto the grass to avoid that one. He won't have appreciated that one, the Red Bull driver, but he's managed to get through unscathed.
He has managed to get through unscathed. And just to speak about the Josh, Venom actually caught Josh out, and Venom had the inside line going through the Della Roggia chicane. Josh literally got battered out the way. I'm literally, all I'm saying is that. Because, yeah.
Well, let's focus on the action. We've got Yarum here on the back of Wesker. As you can see, the pit stop strategies will keep you right up to date, better than we can, that's for sure, as the AlphaTauri looks to close in here. Josh making a move there on Matt as they make way through Parabolica for the third time this race, or at least the second time this race, I should say. Pilot still leads the way, though, from Kalsper and Recon, as they make their way now down towards that first chicane once again. We've got Tibos here on the back of Bianchi. We've actually got lots of battles happening up ahead. We've got Wesker and Yarum going side by side now in towards turn 2, and that AlphaTauri will have the better traction off the exit of the Rettifilo chicane, and Yarum now up a position to P8. But this isn't over for Wesker through Curva Grande. This is a great overtaking opportunity if you can get side by side in towards the Roggia chicane, but no, Wesker can't quite have the momentum there. He actually slightly caught the rear tyre of Yarum there, but they managed to get through unscathed, and Wesker has to hold on to P9 for now.
Yeah, Wesker was actually using a little bit of overtake mode coming through Curva Grande to try and catch back up to Yarum. Trying to go around the outside. Yarum just shut the door. Wesker, I think, was pulling out at the same time as well. Recon, by the way, is on the back of Kalsper, and suddenly Medium Pilot is beginning to come back into these guys, and Perpetuum is beginning to come forward as well. Could have a four-way battle for the lead very soon. We're certainly going to have a battle between the two former teammates, or the two former champions of TTL F1 last season, Recon and Kalsper, going to go at it. This is going to be fantastic.
Absolutely,
like
and they
never been away.
They are absolutely in that rivalry here. Here we can see then Recon making a move there on Kalsper as they make their way now down the start-finish straight. Recon's got the DRS, but so too has Kalsper. He's got the slipstream there of the Red Bull there as we make our way towards the Rettifilo chicane. Once again, you can see that Mercedes of Recon still on the outside. A little bit of a wheel spin there moment from Recon as they make their way now through the Curva Grande, but Kalsper holds on then. Recon, though, not letting him go whatsoever. They've got to be careful that they don't let Medium Pilot get away with this one. They've got to keep on him. Well, I say that, but they're not really teammates. We've got yellow flags in Sector 1. That looks like Matt, who is in trouble there. He's had an excursion across the gravel at least, because it's all on his tyres. So he's made his way back up to P15, or at least to P15. I don't think he lost too many positions, and in all honesty, didn't lose too much time.
Yeah, Matt only lost about 0.6 of a second and didn't lose any positions at all. So hopefully he's going to get back onto the back of Jack sooner rather than later. Obviously, just to speak about as well, the pit strategies that came up at the end of lap 1. They were different for every single driver. So I saw on Medium Pilot, it was lap 10 to 12. On Kalsper, it was lap 11 to 13. So that's how different it is. It's a differentiation for each of the drivers, which I find is very, very good. Perpetuum, by the way, is on the back of Recon, but Recon now beginning to hunt down Kalsper. Is he close enough to move down towards turn 1? I don't think he is. It's very difficult to try and get into the double toll. They're pretty much in a DRS train here running down the straight, and no move's going to be pulled off, but Mac Maverick is side by side with Matt Tibos.
Yeah, coming down at the start-finish straight then, as you can see, with the help of that DRS, the Renault's got the inside line. The Williams is still there on the inside, but he's taken that curb there, and the sleeping policeman, and McMaverick just doesn't have the traction down there to help and basically try and get a move done round the outside. It's just what happens when you hit that sleeping policeman. The car gets upset, and unfortunately you can't get the power down as well as you would like. Yarum there with a 3-second time penalty, and we're going to have to keep up with these penalties, James, whether we like it or not. They're probably going to shuffle around this order at the end of the race.
Yeah, the penalty is going to be picked up around this track. It's going to be quite potent towards the end of the race. You could have drivers that are picking up 9, 12 seconds worth of penalties on occasion. Kalsper is just under a bit of pressure from Recon coming down towards the Scari. Recon has suddenly caught back up. Kalsper had a slight mistake coming out of the first Lesbo. It could pay to pass because Recon now is on the back, but he uses his overtake mode to just get close enough, warning Kalsper he is there, and I think maybe we'll have a go down the straight. But Medium Pilot runs wide, coming through Parabolica. Kalsper now in probably the closest positions he's been in to try and get the move done. But I think Medium Pilot not using overtake mode, neither is Kalsper, and you can see the difference of that overtake mode in operation, or not in operation in this case, because nobody's using it, and Medium Pilot stays out in front by 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, so Pilot just making his own merry way around the circuit. Kalsper helped by that DRS that he's got ahead of the Red Bull driver, but here we go through the Curva Grande. He has closed up just a little bit to the Red Bull ahead of him, heading our way now down towards the Roggia chicane. Nice and easy through here, very easy to get this one wrong and overcommit there as well. Then you've got the Lesbos, which is even more tempting to try and overcommit through here. you can take quite a bit of speed through the Lesmos. They are banked towards the apex, so it does encourage that. But if you get it wrong, especially over that little crest on the exit of the second Lesmo, you can get punished. Carlsberg closing in though, once again on the back of Pilot, and look how much he's closing in as well. There you can see on the steering wheel, you can see the sort of gear that they're in, and Tibos has been around on the exit of the second Lesmo. Meanwhile, we're still on board with Recon here, because you can see that green bar there. That means that overtake mode has been engaged. When it goes back down to orange, that's normal deployment. That yellow bar all across the start, across the steering wheel, I should say, is how much energy he has to deploy. And then you've got obviously the deployment rate and the harvest rate below that one. So there you can see, crossing that start finish line, he has a lot of ERS to deploy, at least over the lap, to try and limit that one. You can see the Ferrari though of Perpetuum actually opting to not be in the slipstream of the 3 cars ahead of him.
Yeah, very strange, but I think Perpetuum is trying to play the long game as part of this race. He's just in behind, waiting for these guys, maybe to make a mistake, maybe to run out of ERS and use that overtake mode up to good effect. But what I think is striking, what I was right on board with last lap around, Medium Pilot is conserving about 15% less ERS compared to Carlsberg. Josh, by the way, and Bianchi side by side. Josh gets the move done down into Della Roggia chicane. He's through and he's up into 9th position. Very clean move there on the Red Bull. Sorry if that was a bit of a quick camera cut, but Josh through and he's up to 9th.
Well, luckily for you, I was already on that battle, so absolutely great minds think alike, James, I have to say. But yes, Josh up a position. He actually set a purple sector 1 there as Recon picks up a 3-second time penalty. Oh, Pilot's around at Ascari. He got it wrong on the curve and has sent it all the way around, wheel spin galore, and he's going to lose a mountain of time here. Of course, damage is off, so there won't be any damage to that car. Only Pride will be damaged here, but he's now down to 5th place. What that's meant, though, is that it's now opened up this battle once again for the lead of this race. Carlsberg is on the defence against Recon, only this time Carlsberg doesn't have any DRS to help him defend. He's only got that energy recovery system to help him out, and this time it does help him.
It does help him, and Recon is actually carrying a lot more than Carlsberg, is carrying a lot more than Recon. It's about 15% in terms of the ERS as well. Carlsberg Recon, we've seen this battle before plenty of times. Are we going to have a repeat of it? I think, by God, you will have that battle in front. Matty now beginning to hold up Medium Pilot. He's recovering well after that mistake through Ascari. It looked like he got caught on the outside curve, probably hit the wall on the left side, did a full 360 and then just sped away once again as if nothing had happened. To be honest, he's only lost 4 seconds out of it, which is not too much time at all. He's still with a good chance of winning this.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is the thing with the evaluation race. Don't give up, because your pace is what's taken into account of. Mistakes, everybody makes them, but if you've got good pace, you've still got a chance of being up there in the top strands and the top divisions of TT Masters League. But Carlsberg leads, Recon second, Perpetuum now in 3rd place, and there is a little bit of a train between our podium runners right now. Recon and Perpetuum will be feeling that this is a perfect opportunity to try and take the lead of the race, but Recon gets it wrong going through Parabolica, and look at that, Perpetuum there wants to try and say that he wants to take that inside line, but Recon just about got ahead. Now you can see the Ferrari, look at how much they're closing in towards the Mercedes. Perpetuum wisely backs out of that one. The 2 Mercedes going side by side in towards the Rettifilo chicane. Perpetuum tried to go for the gap there. That definitely opened the door, but he couldn't quite get the power down. A little bit of oversteer, and unfortunately that moment for him is gone. Recon on the back of Carlsberg as we head in towards the Roggia chicane. Not really an overtaking opportunity unless you're already side by side out of the Curva Grande, and Carlsberg holds on to the lead for just another lap longer.
Yeah, Recon is all over the back of him, though, and he looks, to be honest, quicker than Carlsberg. Perpetuum as well, recovering well after that mistake. He's still only 4 tenths off. He did lose 7 tenths, I think, as a result, and Matty is beginning to come into this as well. We could have a scenario when these guys come into the pits. Recon looks like he's closing on the back of Carlsberg. Is he going to go down the inside into Ascari? No. Perpetuum on the back, but Matty's beginning to gain on this as well. He's dragging along Medium Pilot, Venom, and possibly Coginio as well. Wider implications could follow if these guys get held up in the pits.
Here they come then towards Parabolica for the 9th time in this race. Carlsberg leading, Recon going slightly wider on the exit there. Let's see if any of them come in. The Ferrari's in, so Perpetum into the pits then for an undercut. Now, this is earlier than we were expecting, but the Ferrari comes into the pits then to get onto a fresh set of, I assume, what will be medium tyres on that Ferrari. So what will happen there is Perpetum will come out, hopefully he thinks, in free air.
I think he got held up by Yarham slightly in the pit lane there, actually, Perpetum, so he might have just lost a little bit of time. But he's going to come out in free air relatively. He's going to come out behind Matt Tibbles, I think. There is Matt Tibbles just coming past, and Perpetum out behind. Not too bad, but he's got to try and fight through some of the traffic. He has came out 24.7 seconds behind Carlsberg for the race lead. That is the gap to follow during the course of this lap.
And we know that the pit stop time takes anywhere between 22 and 24 seconds. So that's going to be a crucial boundary for Perpetum to make sure that he's within. Yellow flags up in the second chicane. And Maverick is around then in the Williams on the entrance there. I wonder if he's dropped it on the entrance there. But lots of penalties being handed out by the in-game stewards. Meanwhile, battle for the lead is developing. Once again, Recon looking for a move up the inside in towards Parabolica. That white line there is the detection point. You could see Recon was holding back there. In theory, he should have the DRS heading down the start-finish straight. He doesn't need it. He's coming into the pit, but now gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That'll be added to the end of his race, assuming this is his only stop. He can't serve it this time around, but look at that traffic in the pit lane. He's going to be held, is he? Oh, well, they just about timed that one to perfection. Maybe a little bit too perfect there. But anyway, Carlsberg leads the way now. Pilot is up into second place, but the important thing is...
might get him.
Let's have a look, see, and Perpetum. Let's have a look and see. He's got Isotopic in the slipstream. There's Recon. There's Perpetum. Look at the speed difference between the two of them there with the help of DRS in towards the Retafilio chicane. A little bit of contact between them, but Perpetum makes it clear he had the speed and now he's got the position. The AlphaTauri there of Yaram having trouble in that first chicane. And hopefully he'll be able to rejoin the action very, very shortly. But I know Recon, he will not be done with this. He'll be far from done with this.
He definitely won't, and to be honest, he's got a bit of an advantage here. Perpetum's in a bit of clean air. He's got 1.8 seconds to matter as well. The gap between Carlsberg and Perpetum is 22.6 seconds. So there is really only, with Isotopic, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, has he come into the pit lane already, Isotopic? He hasn't. That's a glitch on my end with the graphics. But Recon and Perpetum are going to have to be hoping Carlsberg will respond, and he is going to come into the pits this lap. Medium Pilot is not entirely out of this, and Perpetum, 3 seconds on penalty. That might just be what Carlsberg needs, but I think Carlsberg's coming out in third because the gap is 21.9.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as they make their way in towards the pit lane. There's such a huge speed difference on the exit of the pit lane here that it really does favour the undercut, and whoever's coming down the start-finish straight first. There's Carlsberg in the pits though, but there comes Perpetum. He's actually got some DRS and some slipstream from Matt up ahead, and he's cleared the Mercedes by a huge margin here. There was the Mercedes coming out the pit lane. There goes Perpetum up the inside of Matt there, taking nothing for granted, and he wants that car difference between the two cars there of Perpetum and Recon. Now though, that is Recon now go round the outside of Curva Grande. I believe Matt still has to pit. He started the race on those medium tyres. A great way to find out would be to use the stops there. So you can see Jack and Matt still yet to stop in this race, as to Isotopics. There you can see the drivers starting on the medium tyres who are yet to stop in this race. But an important move that Perpetum had to make, and now he is in the net lead of this race.
He is, and he's leading by 0.8 of a second. Recon has put Mata into play as well ahead of Carlsberg. The gap is 1.4 seconds between Recon and Carlsberg. Medium Pilot was the big loser in that pit lane. He got held up slightly. He also had to overtake Isotopic as a result, and he is now stuck behind ILRT Matty for possible net P4. So that mistake coming back to haunt Medium Pilot, and he's got Venom chasing him down all of the back. Caginio's not too far off. I think, honestly, the top 10 is going to be covered about 10 seconds.
Well, here we go then towards the start-finish line. It is Jack who leads right now, but he is still yet to stop in this race. He started the race on medium tyres. Perpetum is in second place. Recon here looking for a move. Can he try and make one on the Ferrari in towards turn one? No, he can't, but I'll tell you who can make a move before turn one. It is Carlsberg. Now finds him up into fourth.
Venom down the inside of Matty, just in behind in the retrofilio chicane. Matty and Venom are side by side coming through Clever Grande. Medium pilot got through on Matty as well. Clean sailing move down the straight, and it looks like Matty's just going to have the overtake speed to get past Venom. But is Venom going to come back at him? No, Matty stays in 7th position, but a very good fight that. Venom just getting caught a little bit on the curb. Very good battling though, and now Medium Pilot beginning to catch Matter as well. This is all beginning to spice up.
Absolutely, and remember Matt on the racing point there is, well, not only did he get a little bit of a tank slapper in the exit there, but he is still yet to stop, and this is Pilot here who could make light work of the racing point, heading towards Ascari, and that he does now, moving up to P5, but in reality that's going to be P4 once Jack hits in for his mandatory stop. He is leading this race so far.
Gugino spun, just resetting the track there. Oh, joining me dangerously as well. Just resetting the track. He got caught on the curb on the outside of Ascari. Unfortunately, round, I think he was running a net P6 or P7. So Gugino round, he's down to 13th position. Recon on the back of Papetin for the race lead. Here we go. Here comes the Dutchman down the inside. I mean, you can see where this one's going to go. Recon is through and he's into the lead of the race. Papetin, though, battling with Recon, beginning to bring Calspur in. But Medium Pilot, watch out for him. He's beginning to get closer.
Yeah, I think Matt in the racing point there has had a little bit of a moment in towards the Rettofilio chicane. He's dropped quite a few positions there. Bianchi, meanwhile, battling Isotopic, and Isotopic who's yet to stop in this race, losing out on another position.
Goodness me, we can't keep our eyes off this. Venom down the inside of all our team. Matty into the Della Roccia chicane. Fantastic move by Venom. Up to 6th position. Scotsman says thank you very much. That's actually for net 5th as well, but these two are going hammer and tongue. Honestly, you cannot keep your eyes off this. Actually nearly into the back of him.
I thought he did. I thought he was into the back of Venom there, but in any case, he has to carry on. Obviously no damage here, so won't have any front wing end plate off or anything like that, but he's lost a lot of time to the car ahead. Lap 14 so far, lap 15 very shortly, so we have 13 and a bit laps to go if you're picky. As Jack leads the way. Recon 2nd, Papetim in 3rd, with Calspur 4th, Pilot 5th, with Venom 6th, Matty in 7th, Matt is in 8th, Josh in 9th, with Bianchi in 10th, Yaram 11th, Isotopic in 12th, Gugino 13th, Wesker 14th, Tilos in 15th, and Maverick, or Muck Maverick I should say, in 16th place. Still waiting Jack to come into the pit lane. And I assume that's going to be sooner rather than later now. Normally, when it gets to this late stage, you can eke 10, maybe 11 laps out of the soft tyres due to how much fuel is on board that car. So we should be able to see him in the next few laps.
Yeah, I was just going to say, actually, he's not losing much time to Recon and Papetim, so he's actually taking these mediums very nicely and still gaining time on Recon and Papetim. Obviously, they're battling. They've just dropped 3/10 of a second there to Jack. But Jack has to pit in, I think, sooner rather than later, as you say. Normally, 10, 11 laps around here will degrade the tyres quite severely. So it's going to be quite interesting to see. Maverick has retired coming through turns 1 and 2. That's through the Rettofilio chicane. Josh, by the way, on the back of Matter. This is for P8 currently, and I mean, well, it's not for P8 any longer because Josh has just sailed past them.
Absolutely, so Josh is now up into 8th place. From that one, he had a moment earlier on in this race and is now really trying to cut back and try and get this gap down once again. He's now got Matty, who's the next target for him, and Matty, who's yet to, well, he has stopped in this race, but he's struggled for pace. Jack into the pit lane then, so that hands Recon the lead of this race then ahead of Papetim and Calspur. Be interesting to see where Jack can rejoin. He's going to rejoin quite the way down the field. He'll have the soft tyres, but how long will they last at pretty much optimum race pace?
Yeah, the soft tyres are not going to be 15 laps, by the way, as they're showing on my screen. They're definitely fresh tyres. Gugino just got past Isotopic as well for 11th position. And there was also a good battle between Matter, who's still yet to pit. He's still carrying on, LRT Matter. But I think he's going to get outdone by Bianchi, because look at the speed. Look at the overtake button getting used by Bianchi. The homeboy hero is up into P8. And having a very good race, I've got to say. Bianchi's now going to get onto the back of Josh. And now puts Yarham possibly at odds with Matter. And Matter's going to fight with Yarham by the look, so Bianchi can pull away.
So it is Recon leading, Perpetuum in second place with Carlsberg in third. Wesker has got to move ahead of Isotopic. Only 2 drivers yet to stop in this race. There goes Yaram though, who makes light work of Mata. McMaverick there leaving the session. He has retired from this one, which is unfortunate because that means he's retired on his own accord because there is no damage in this race. 10, well, almost 10 laps to go. We have, in fact, 12 if you're picky. Laps to go in this one. Soon to be 11 when Recon crosses that line. There it is. 11 laps to go here at Monza with Perpetuum second, Carlsberg in third. Pilot there making his way back in. He's not too far away from that DRS range of Carlsberg, and he's bettered that because he's just gone purple through Sector 3.
Yeah, purple through Sector 3, probably because of overtake mode that he was using, and he's now got 36% of the US. You can see him alighting that overtake button once again. He's desperately trying to get closer, but at what cost? I think he's going to have quite a lot of less ERS compared to Carlsberg, Perpetuum and Recon ahead. He's doing the right thing to get back into the race, but I think it's going to cost him more longer term. So, I mean, compare that to Carlsberg. He's been energy saving completely, and he's on 75% coming through Lesmo 1. Perpetuum on 60%. And Recon on 45% roughly. So medium product getting back into play, but at what cost with his ERS?
Well, I wonder actually because you can save the ERS down the straights because you've got the DRS. You won't have to deploy it as much as we make our way through. Carlsberg here still just about ahead of Pilot, but you can see Pilot now 0.8 of a second as we make our way towards Parabolica. It is 17 laps into this race out of 27, and we still are nowhere near finding out who's going to win this race. We've got Yaram here on the back of Bianchi as we make our way in towards Parabolica. As you can see there, it's difficult with the understeer on entry. If you haven't set the car up right, that's what you're going to suffer with as we head our way through. But there is Recon leading the way, and it's now become, once again, a 4-way battle for the lead of this race. Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull in this battle for the lead of this race, with battles happening all over the field as well. We've got Bianchi and Yaram battling away. Jack, who is down the inside of Wesker, he absolutely sent that one and somehow gets away with it. Jack then up to 11th place on the soft tyres, and he really has to get a move on here if he wants a good result tonight.
Yeah, Bianchi and Johan as well, battling down into the Della Rogers chicane. They were nearly side by side, actually, so Bianchi holds on to position in 8th. But yeah, Jack is really beginning to come into play. He's on that fresh set of soft compounder tyres. Ignore what the graphics are saying, because Jack is beginning to come into play. He's 2 seconds to the back of Coginio. That 2 seconds will be eaten up like a chocolate cake on a Sunday afternoon. Jack is catching.
You know, they say to prepare everything when you head into the commentary box. I don't think I was quite prepared for that one. Meanwhile, Josh is really on a charge as he's behind Matty, making a way up towards Parabolica. And he's going to have a really good look at the inside of Matty there in towards turn 1 especially. He's well within DRS range. Can he get this move done? Josh has been one of those who we know who is quick, but he hasn't had the best race. But this could be a really good signifier that he's right on the money here in the slipstream of Matty as we make our way towards turn 1. Pulls to the right hand side of the track with some DRS. Little bit too close for comfort there, but Josh has the move done and he's now up to P6.
I wonder if actually Josh was trying to get back at Matty for a move that might have happened earlier on. Matty might have dived it down the inside, so maybe a little bit love lost there.
Maybe. I mean, even in the evaluation races, there can be a little bit of love lost. It does get to that point where tensions can boil over, but let's see if we can keep it clean for the last handful of laps here. Perpetuum, yeah, is really closed in on Recon, so either Perpetuum has got some pace on him, but looking at the gap between Carlsberg and then Pilot, I'm going to be inclined to say that Recon's made a mistake because he has really been closed in by Perpetuum here.
Yeah, I think he made a mistake coming out of the chicane just before the first Lesmo. So Perpetuum's really gaining. But look at what this is doing in behind. It's 1.5 seconds covering the top 4. Is Perpetuum surely not going to have a go down in towards Parabolica? He won't. He's going to wait for the DRS. We can see how much the German has saved on his ERS. He could just use overtake mode. He's literally just toiling in Recon's wake. He should be anyways. Coming down the straight, he will need overtake mode. Here he comes, the German, trying to go around the outside of the Dutchman. No love lost between these two, Perpetuum and Recon, down towards turn 1. Perpetuum should have the move done, cuts him off right at the pass. Perpetuum through and he's in to the lead of the race, but Recon tries to get the switch back. Might not be done until Curva Grande as he comes through Papetum. Now using the overtake mode slightly. Recon. Johan is through on Bianchi just in behind. Recon trying to come back at Papetum, but Papetum is through and he's into the lead of the race. Great move by the German, but this is beginning to let Carlsberg and Medium Pilot back into play.
Absolutely, but one thing's for sure, that Tifosi would have loved a move like that. Papetum there in the lead of this race. Recon yet another 3-second time penalty. I wonder how many the Dutchman has got, because if he gets many more, he could actually find himself black flagged by the in-game stewards. It can happen, and he's got to be careful.
Yeah, Recon's got 12 seconds worth of penalties, just catching up on that. Papetum has got 3 seconds. So Recon's got 12 seconds. I think I said Papetum there instead of Recon. Carlsberg has picked up nothing, and Medium Pilot's picked up 1 warning as well, and an invalid lap time. Can you get invalid lap times in a race?
Well, it's a new thing then, is it? I guess, but
yeah, it must be.
In any case, he's got that. Maybe that could be a penalty towards the end. We'll have to find out. But Papetum lead, Recon in second place, although really they're just for face at the moment to try and battle his way through. Carlsberg third and Pilot there in fourth. There goes Recon then round the outside in towards turn one. Oh, they touch going into turn one there, going side by side. Recon there has to back out of that one in towards turn one. Papetum says, no way. I'm a Ferrari at Monza. I'm not going to make it that simple.
Yeah, shuts the door completely on him, and here comes Recon actually trying to go around the outside through Curva Grande. No, he's not going to be close enough. He's going to wait until the DRS on down into the Discovery. But I like what Papetum was doing there. He just basically shut the door and said to Recon, you're not coming through, mate. You can bring your teammate along with you, but Papetum still in the lead of this race, and the Ferrari will defend at all costs at Monza to beat the Mercedes. And Papetum, with Recon just make the slight mistake there, begins to pull away again.
I wonder though, is it worth for Papetum to see if he can let Recon through? Because Recon's got 12 seconds worth of penalties. I wonder if the Ferrari might battle for some distance in this race, but eventually let the Dutchman go, because he'll have to realise at some point it is not worth battling the Mercedes behind. It's Carlsberg and Pilot behind who are the ones that matter.
Yeah, but I think Papetum might be under the impression that Recon doesn't have any penalties at all. You normally see this from drivers out in front in the race. They normally think the driver behind doesn't have any penalties, and they'll go for the win nonetheless. Papetum's got 3 seconds, Carlsberg's got nothing, and Medium Pilot's got 3 seconds. Here comes Recon again on the back of Papetum. Is he going to try and wait for the move? No, he's not. He's going to try and go around the outside on Papetum, down into the rectifier chicane, shuts the door, little bit hammer and tongue between them both. But look at what this has done to Carlsberg Medium Pilot. Just in beyond, you can drop blanket all over all four. It's like box formation as they come through Curva Grande. Papetum, Carlsberg, could be 3 wide, it could be 2 wide. It's not going to be any of that. And Recon holds on to the lead of the race. Good move by the Dutchman.
Yeah, absolutely. Recon knew he had to get that move done. He has to try and get 12 seconds up the road, though. I don't know how possible that's going to be, but whatever the case is, Papetum will have the DRS to help him stay within that range. That is a blessing in disguise for Carlsberg and Pilot, who get a chance to battle Papetum right ahead. Maybe they can worry less about Recon and more about each other at the moment. That buffer, actually, to Recon, to Carlsberg from Papetum, if you like. Recon there getting a little bit sideways, going through Ascari, clipping that sleeping policeman on the inside. Really does unsettle and upset the car there, and this will just bring Papetum right back into this one as they make their way through Parabolica for the 22nd time. Onwards now towards the start-finish line once again in this race. We have what I believe to be 5 laps to go, and yes, we do, that's right, 5 laps to go here at Monza. And we are on lap 23. Papetum here. Is he going to try and move? No, he doesn't this time around. He's not too close this time, and decides pretty wisely that he's not going to try the move this time. Good respect between these 4 drivers. They've been hard, they've been harsh, but they have been fair.
Yeah, that's what you want to see in an evaluation race. Oh, goodness me. Jack nearly goes into the back of Johan, watching a battle further down the field. Johan actually having to cut the with a 3-second time penalty, having to cut the chicane slightly. But my God, Jack was late on the brakes, maybe a little bit too late. He needed to enter his teammate here tonight. Jack got a fresh set of softs closing in, but he shouldn't have closed in that quick. Goodness me.
Well, I wonder what was going on there that I missed in the top 4. I just didn't see it. I was like, what's going on? Anyway, Recon leads the way then, heading down towards Ascari chicane. And look at that, the Ferrari has really closed up once again here And Recon again getting a tank slapper out of Ascari. And once again, that just allows Papetum to try and close up on the back straight. He's actually losing slight bit of time there on the entrance in towards Parabolica here. What's important is the exit out of this corner. You can see how much more grip Recon has through there, and that can help him stay ahead of the Ferrari as we head our way down now. Lap 24 of this race, 4 laps to go, and here comes Papetum then in the slipstream of the Dutchman. The Dutchman says you're going to have to go around the outside in towards turn 1. Let's see what the Ferrari does. Has the inside line for turn 2. The Mercedes gives him the room, but also has the exit. He has the traction on exit to stay ahead, but now Kalsper is all over the back of that Ferrari, heading through Curva Grande, and now on towards the Roger chicane. Papetum having to defend an inside line, and again, single line formation, Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, and I tell you what, Pilot is just enjoying the battle here with some popcorn in his hand. He's waiting for that perfect opportunity to get his way through. We know he's got the pace, but has he got the timing?
I think he has, because he's got 90% of ERS deployed here, ready to go for the final 3 laps of the race. Medium Pilot has played an absolute blinder, possibly. He's just off the back of these 3. He's letting these guys battle on. Recon and Papetum will come back into Kalsper, and then we'll come back into Medium Pilot. So it'll be a bit of a Constantina effect. But my God, Medium Pilot, if he keeps that ERS as the way it is, and these guys battle ahead, as Jack has left the session, I think, due to disconnection, Medium Pilot could have played an absolute blinder, could get the win, and after that mistake earlier on.
Absolutely. 3 laps to go then here in Monza. Recon leads from Papetum, Kalsper and Medium Pilot. It's been that way for quite some time. Papetum, I think, fancies a change. No, he doesn't. Decides late that he's not going to try. But you can see there, Recon locking up into turn 1 there. It gave him the idea that he was looking for a move down towards turn 1. And now going through Curva Grande. Here goes Papetum round the outside in towards Curva Grande. We've seen a Ferrari go side by side with a Red Bull here in the past. This time it's side by side with the Mercedes. Papetum up the inside in towards the Roger chicane, and he's got that move done. Unconventional overtaking place, but Papetum doesn't care. He's got the lead of the race.
He's got the lead of the race, but Recon just making a slight mistake through the gravel, actually gaining him time there. He's now on the back. Maybe Recon has tried to play the longer game, and he's going to go for a move down in towards the Ascari. He's got the DRS open. I think he might wait until the back straight. No, he's not. He's getting that overtake mode up again. But no, Papetum hangs on to the lead of the race. Recon second, Kalsper third. Medium Pilot is just sitting, waiting. He's just made a slight mistake there, but he's sitting and waiting for these guys to really go at it. You know what they say in the final 2 laps? It could get quite spicy, and I definitely think it will, and it could lead possibly to some of the guys in behind maybe picking up on a podium.
Absolutely. Well, we know in terms of penalties that Recon has an absolute mountain, 12 seconds, but we'll have to confirm what those are in the closing laps here. Penultimate lap of the race is started. Papetum going side by side with Recon, then heading down the straight. There's the other Mercedes of Kalsper looking to try and take advantage in towards turn 1. They all managed to make it through there, and Recon struggling for grip then. Papetum might try and get a better exit out of turn 2, round Curva Grande. Will he try the outside line? Well, Recon gives him the space, says if you want to go for it, you can go for it. Look at that overspeed from the Ferrari then down towards the Roger chicane, and once again Papetum holds on to the lead of the race. Recon has to settle for second place again, but he gets into the gravel again. Kalsper this time around has seen that opportunity but couldn't quite take advantage of it. But Recon here, maybe cracks are starting to show here for Recon. He's struggling.
Yeah, maybe the nail in the coffin, I think, with that mistake, as he's now 6.5 tenths off the back of Papetum with only 1.5 laps to go. Down in towards Ascari for the penultimate time. It's Papetum who leads, Recon second, Kalsper third, Medium Pilot in fourth. All of this battling, by the way, is letting Venom get into play. It's 2.7 seconds. It's not going to be enough for him to catch. He could get a podium, though, with Recon's penalties, and also with a few 3-second penalties ahead. Papetum, though, leading on to the final lap. But this is the worst place to be in, possibly. The Ferrari is going to have to do it the hard way from the front on this final lap of the race. And Recon, Kalsper and Medium Pilot will be hoping, well, Papetum, make a mistake.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to confirm those penalties maybe even on this final lap, because Recon here is looking for a move, but I think he's just too far back this time around. Recon, he thought about the inside line, but that door was never opened in the first place. And James, if we could have the penalties for the top 4, we know Recon has an absolute mountain of penalties there. What are they like?
Papetin's got 3 seconds in the lead. Recon has got 12 seconds, unchanged from the last few laps. Calsper has got nothing. I repeat, nothing. And Medium Pilot has got 3 seconds.
So Calsper here is in the driver's seat, if you pardon the pun.
Yeah.
He could be the one that wins this race if he keeps his cool and lets everything happen around him. That might have been why Calsper has been so tentative as someone getting a tank slapper through the second Lesmo.
That was Papetin in the lead of the race. It really cost the time. Recon's coming back at him. He could have a go down towards Parabolica. Just got caught on the outside curve purely.
Well, let's see then as they make their way on towards the back straight for the final time, up towards Parabolica for the final time. This race, Papetin leads from Recon, Calsper and Pilot, but in terms of penalties, it's Calsper who's got the upper hand, but who will be able to cross that line first? Papetin going around the final corner on track. It will be a Ferrari winning at Monza, but let's see how the penalties shuffle up the grid. Papetin wins on track, and it's going to be Calsper who takes the win in Monza. Papetin in second place, Pilot third with Venom in fourth, Recon falling all the way down to 5th place. Could be even further than that. No, Josh has got Matty on the last lap to claim 6th place there. Bianchi now classified as 7th place with Matty in 8th. Wesker finishing in 9th place. Well, he hasn't finished yet. He hasn't taken the checkered flag, but he's now making his way through, and Yaram has been disqualified from the race. We'll have to see what happened there, but let's have a look here. Wesker making his way towards the line, finishing in 9th place. Tibos in 10th with Matt in 11th. Isotopic will come across the line in 12th. Coutinho across the line in 13th. And Little Jack there, who was disconnected from the session. But there is your race winner here. Calsper wins in Italy, but what a fight for that race win. Driver of the day, as voted by the in-game fans, was Venom.
Does he deserve it?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. That's what the in-game fans have voted for. But Calsper, well, he knows. He's done the job. Taking a photo to enjoy the moment. But he is the winner here in Evaluation Race 1.
It's the first time I've seen one of those celebrations and they look absolutely stupid.
They look great. Yeah, they do look great. But, well, Calsper taking the win here by simply letting everything happen in front of him. He saw that battle between the two of them. And fair play to the Ferrari and the Mercedes up in front. They put on a heck of a show. But unfortunately for Recon, he had all those penalties that sent him all the way down the order. Here are your official, unofficial results then for Evaluation Race 1. It is Calsper who wins the race. Papetin in second. Pilot third. Venom from 10th to 4th. Yeah, I say he could deserve that driver of the day. Recon in 5th with Josh in 6th. Bianchi 7th with Matty in 8th. Wesker 9th. And Isotopic rounds out the top 10. It's T-Boss 11th. Coutinho in 12th. Matt, the last of the finishers, in 13th place. Jack, McMaverick and Yaram not finishing the race, although Yaram getting himself disqualified from the race. Now we're able to see from the race director, look at all of these warnings going all the way through. Probably would have been the wise decision to not go through the list lap by lap, but rather the driver, because I don't think I'm going to make it in time. But in any case, let's see as we get to the bottom of the page. Yeah, disqualified for receiving multiple penalties for Yaram. So the last one he had was exceeding track limits. So I told you it can happen, and, well, in theory it could have happened to Recon, but he did clean up his corner cutting at the end of the race there.
Yeah, he picked up 14 seconds worth of penalties, Recon. Matty picked up the same amount of penalties as Yaram did. Matty picked up 21 seconds worth of penalties as well. So it bears to mind in the question, Yaram got disqualified for multiple warnings and 18 seconds worth of penalties, but Matty didn't.
There could have been contact. Sometimes it takes into effect of contact as well, so that could have been a reason why. But yeah, Yaram disqualified from the final standings by the game, given the black flag. But that will do it for Evaluation Race number 1, and we do hope you've enjoyed your stay. We do hope you've enjoyed the action. I certainly enjoyed it, so I hope you have too. We've got a lot happening in the next week or so, in the coming weeks, that is. So make sure you're tuning in. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss another race. We've got the next Evaluation Race, in fact, Evaluation 2 and 3. I believe Evaluation 2 is the one that's being streamed. You can catch that this coming Thursday, the 23rd of July, where it's the same format. Short qualifying with the race, and I believe, James, you'll be hosting that one. Well, at least in the
I will
box.
be commentating. Yeah, I'll be commentating in the commentary box, and I've got Paco Suarez alongside me for that one. And for Evaluation Race 3, I think it's Aidan Carter and somebody else, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I can't remember the other one.
Yes, so they'll both be streamed, but I think Evaluation 2 will be the one that has the graphics. So that will be decided there. But do go and show the commentary team in Evaluation 3 some love as well. They've got a hell of a race on their hands as well. Make sure you do follow the new Twitter. It's at TTML_F1. So make sure you do go over there and give them a follow. You'll also be able to go there to find out all the latest information in terms of penalties, in terms of race results, and everything in between. You can follow your commentary team on Twitter if you really want to. You can follow me at KS McGinley. Good luck with that one. And you can follow the lovely Mr. James Head on Twitter as well. It's at B52Head. That's Bravo 52 Head. James, if that's just race 1, I can't wait for race 1 proper.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I think we've seen there that most of these guys belong in the top division. Obviously, it's for the admin team to decide, but really good race on a whole. Can't wait for Thursday and Friday.
Absolutely, and hopefully you'll be joining us for that one as well. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.
Sunrise, stick with me, keep me company. Nothing can trouble me.